Well, who would have thought it? In the season from hell, where we've had more bad results than good. We had another absolutely horrific one this afternoon.
Yes.
It finished Rangers 1, Celtic nil at Ibrox. Celtic, in my opinion, were the better team for the majority of the game.
Hmm.
Straight away, game for me hinged on two key moments, John. First one is Alan McGregor making a world-class save from Lee Griffiths, a
Hmm.
save that I don't think any of our three keepers is capable of making. And then the obvious one, the near beat-on moment, which changed the game, forever. That for me is what it boiled down to. And in a season where nothing's really gone our way, Rangers got the result they needed, and it's a real sore one.
Yeah, I think it's a case of Celtic thrown away again. Had it in our own hands, I feel like. Certainly in the first half, we were dominant in the first half. It was a fantastic first half, actually. The only thing that was missing was a goal, which the McGregor save stopped, amongst other chances. But I don't usually like to scapegoat players, and I'm not going to go on for 10 minutes about him. But Beaton's thrown that away for his teammates and his fans and Celtic today. Unfortunately, that happens sometimes. I don't think Beaton would have started today unless Julien had picked up that injury against Dundee United. We've spoken about that this week on the channel and on the podcast and on the website, that was a concern for us because I think Julien's probably our best defender on his day. And unfortunately, Beaton was thrown in. I think it was the right decision to start Beaton. People might say in hindsight, with the benefit of hindsight, that he should have started Duffy, but I thought when Duffy came on, he showed he's just as much of an... he's just as nervous as ever, let's say. Let's put it kindly like that. So I thought Lennon got his team selection spot on today. I thought tactics were spot on for the most part until the red card. And then it all fell to pieces as you would expect. And Celtic have thrown that one away, and it's just so frustrating because I feel like we've done that all season, Hamish.
You kind of had a feeling at half time, didn't you? That there was a lot of people, certainly that I was seeing on Twitter and on the forums, suggesting that it was almost a reverse of the Betfred Cup final from last year. And it actually played out very similarly to that game with regards to it being a set piece goal that undid us, and I don't think Rangers had an actual shot on target and actually forced back us into a save all match. It's kind of pointless to really say this because the result was the only thing that matters, and I'm not going to come out and tell you that I'm pleased because Celtic outplayed Rangers for long parts, but I did think that for the first 45, Rangers looked scared. They looked like a team that weren't able to even get out of their own half at times. I thought we were really dominant. But the big frustration was for me that the final ball wasn't there, and the final shot on a few occasions. Christie had two really good chances to get something on target, and I know he's become a bit of a parody because Christie shooting again, but those were two really good opportunities to get something on target, and he did the exact same with both. He kind of sliced it rather than trying to curl it like he did at Hampden a couple of weeks ago. So that was disappointing. I had a feeling at half time that we may struggle. The second half was a much more even affair, even prior to the red card, but when the red card happened, the game just changed massively, and I think you're right. I thought it was really poor from Beaton. Well, I'm kind of probably, you've already answered your question, but was it a red for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think I always try and look at some of these decisions, and it's hard when it's a derby game because we don't like Rangers. But if that was at the other end, you'd be screaming for the Rangers guy to be sent off, I would imagine. So I do think it was a red card. Were you swithering on it?
You would be calling for it if it was a Rangers defender, but does that make it a red card? Because in my mind, I was kind of coming across a bit there. Maybe I'm clutching at straws. I still think it was daft from Beaton, but I think Beaton fouls him. If this makes any difference, I don't know. But I think Beaton fouls him because he thinks he would only get a yellow. I don't think he does that if he thinks he would get a red, as daft as that sounds. And he looked genuinely shocked when it was a red. There was just a few other decisions from the ref. I'm not going to blame the ref because I kind of feel me and you're big enough and ugly enough just to take this in the chin like Tony Mowbray, and just it is what it is.
True.
Maybe this season it maybe isn't meant to be, but I thought there was a few poor decisions from the ref in the first half. Corners it should have been. There was one, the first chance we had in the game, the one when Edward shot and McGregor saved, and then Edward kind of got the rebound that was given for offside that the replay showed it wasn't offside. So a few bits in that, but to be honest, it's pretty irrelevant in the end, isn't it, John?
Yeah, I think I think it is. It's easy to get caught up in one moment. It's easy to be raging a beat on, but the reality is that today's result um, is not. It's not about today, is what I'm saying. It's about the run up to today. It's about everything this season. Like the 19-point gap, I think it is now. Shockingly, is not because of what happened today. It's just it's been trending this way all season. And although there's been improvement in the last few weeks, they just had to get the job done today. And I think what's most frustrating is that we did play well for large chunks of the game. That's why I think I'm so frustrated and disappointed today. If we'd been hammered again, you would just take your medicine and go into hiding for a little bit. But I thought we played really well in stages today. But there's just something about this team this season that they just can't seem to get things over the line. And I think that's the difference between Celtic this season and Rangers this season. I don't want to praise them too much, but they know how to win these matches now, and they know how to get over these humps. So it's difficult to take. There's no doubt about it.
It's probably kind of game over now for the title. I'm not going to sit here directly and say Rangers are the champions, but I think it's a real tough ask there. Now to catch them, it's obviously 19 points. Yes, we've got 3 games in hand. Yes, there's a couple of derbies to go. As we know in football, a lot can change over a small period, but I just felt that, as I said earlier in the week, I felt that we had to, land something on them today, and we had to damage them psychologically and see if they had the bottle to deal with it. For me now, they're going into 3 really tough away games at Aberdeen, Motherwell and Hibs, and the pressure's off, and they've got a real boost now because they know that they're kind of coming into the home straight. It's tough to take. It's not going to be an easy last 6 months of the season, I don't think, but listen, we've got no option really to go forward. Will it be going forward with Neil Lennon, in your opinion?
Well, it's a difficult question. I think the reality is that he will stay on for the moment. I think the club have made that quite clear. I don't think it matters too much what supporters have to say about that. Just on the title, we could sit here and string people along and say that Celtic could make a comeback, but my gut feeling and my logical thinking on this is that the title is over. I think Rangers have 16 games to play. Even if we win all our games in hand, there's still a 10-point gap. I don't see Rangers dropping 10 points between now and the end of the season, even taking into account the derbies and us winning those 2 matches. It's just unlikely given the form so far. Obviously, the team are going to try and keep going and keep a brave face on things until it's mathematically impossible, as professionals like to say. But we would just be stringing people along. I do think the league is over today. And what that means for Lennon's future is unknown. Obviously, in the long term, I think it means he will go at one point. In the short term, I don't think he's going anywhere too quickly. I believe the team are off to Dubai. It's going to be business as usual. It's going to be the same old brave face and things from the club, I think, which is not what fans will want to hear. But I think that's what's on the way for people.
We've had a lot of setbacks this season. We've had so many of them. Does this feel different for you? And I'll add my thoughts in first. To me, it does feel a little bit different. For some reason, I don't feel quite as angry with the team or the manager. I felt we were quite good today. I know we've not got the result, and it comes, and I don't want to, make me a beat on the scapegoat for that, because there's other moments in the game. I don't feel quite as hopeless as I did earlier this season in terms of this team. In terms of the league title, I feel more hopeless than ever, but I definitely think there's the makings there of a good side going forward. Whether that's with Neil Lennon or not, it's probably more likely to be without him. I just don't think he can survive not winning the league this season. But there's positives there. I think there are a lot of really talented players. I thought David Turnbull was pretty good today. I thought Frimpong was pretty good with his running. Just his final ball was a bit disappointing. Griffiths had a couple of shots. Edouard, I thought, was a bit pedestrian. I know that's the way he plays the game, and he had a couple of decent moments, but I thought he was kind of quietish today, and I expected a wee bit more from him. It's tough weighing it up so immediately after the game, isn't it? But I'm just saying how I feel, and this might age really badly in terms of people watching this in the days to come, but I can't say I feel quite as angry as the last few games. I don't know if that's because I'd come to the conclusion that we'd chuck the league back in November anyway during that run.
It's not the first time this season. I don't think it's come out of the blue. I don't think the results come out of the blue, even though the way the game panned out. And I think there is hope. Turnbull and Sorrow are young players. I think Sorrow's 22, Turnbull's 20 or 21. These are young, talented players who will hopefully be installed in that team. I hope there's not a reversion to previous tactics. I hope there's not a reversion to bringing Scott Browning back into the equation. I think Neil Lennon found his best 11. I think it's just unfortunate that he found it, so close to the derby without much time for this team to gel properly. We had the few good results heading into it, but realistically, we probably should have been playing this team far earlier in the season than we have been, and I think that's cost us in the end. But yeah, we largely outplayed Rangers today, but that will be one of their worst performances of the season, I would imagine. So we need to look forward with some sort of optimism and long-term thinking here. That's what the club need to do. I don't think any drastic changes are going to alter the course of what happens this season. Mm-hmm. So the club need to take a good look at the direction they want to head in, the players that they want to be here, the manager that they want to be here, and decide where we go next as a football club. And it would be good if they communicated that with supporters along the way.
We'll probably get happy birthdays during their trip to Dubai and videos of the team training together and all the usual stuff we get from the club. Football at that level, at any level, but at the top level, is a game of really fine margins. And for me today, if Nia Beaton gets the right side of Morelos there and doesn't haul him down and doesn't get sent off, I don't think we lose that game. But to be honest, I can hear myself speaking and I'm sounding like Rangers fans from years ago, ifs and buts. And we did lose the game, and listen, on this channel we're going to be big enough, as I said earlier, to take it. It hurts right now, and some people may find that quite funny, but to be honest, it's just what it's about, being a football fan. Celtic will return at some stage. I did see positives today in terms of the way some players played. I've already commented on them, but I just think this season's maybe not meant to be. I just feel like everything's gone against us, both external and internal factors have gone against Celtic this season, and sometimes at top level sport, John, you just kind of hold your hands up and say that as a fan you can't win it all. Maybe I'm sounding completely delusional there. Maybe that's
you're sounding very zen today, Hamish. Yeah, I mean, I think effectively, Celtic have thrown it away themselves this year, and I think that's what's most annoying for supporters. I think if we completely capitulated today, you would just take it as Rangers are the much better team. They have shown that they are the better side this season so far, but I thought today on the day, we showed again the kind of football that we can string together with this team in place. But it wasn't good enough, and we have to hold our hands up and say that.
Right, unless you've got anything else to say, John, I think we'll call it there. It's a bit painful for both of us. Yeah, obviously we'll be back 67 Hail Hail. We'll have a day off tomorrow, I think, and we'll be back from Monday onwards with some more reaction to the game. I don't think we play until the following Monday at home to Hibs, which immediately is quite a tough game to come back from while the team's in Dubai. So we'll continue. Remember, if you've not yet subscribed to the channel, we would really appreciate you doing that. We appreciate all the support, all the views we get on this channel, and we'll speak to you very soon.